All right, that's it. Let me mute everybody. Hang on just a second. All right, you're back.
Fine. All right. So we're on Chav Testament Aleph. We left off there. Is actually yesterday's blot. So we'll start with that, and we'll do today's Mitzvah Shem. So 2 dots. We got around 8 or 9 lines from the top of Chav Testament Aleph in Masech Shabbos. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav, Masikin bekelim vein Masikin b'shivrei kelim. So you're allowed to go ahead and burn and and let on fire those things that are kelim, because those utensils were not subject to muksa prior to Shabbos. But shivrei kelim, utensils that broke on Shabbos, now all of a sudden are considered to be noilat, something which is new and something which is born, just got created today, and therefore since it got created today, it's considered to be noilat and considered muksa, and therefore you cannot go ahead and use them to light them. Divi Rabbi Yehuda, that's a bit of Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon is matir, right? This is machlokes continues throughout Masechah Shabbos between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon in terms of muksa, in terms of malacha. Rabbi Shimon is the mekel, Rabbi Yehuda is the machmer. Now, masikin b'tamarim. Now, next, that was one category. We're going to go through all 3. Now, next category is dates. You're allowed to go ahead and burn dates. Achlan, however, once you eat it, then ain masikin b'grenei. But diva Rabbi Yehuda, you're not allowed to go ahead and consume or burn their seeds, their pits in the inside. That's been a Rabbi Yehuda, because now that is something which is new, which is now came into existence because you ate the date around it. Rabbi Shimon says no problem in burning the pits. You can go ahead and toss them in the fire. And masikin be'egoizim, you're allowed to go ahead and burn nuts. However, achlan, you eat them. Ein masikin be'klipaseyam, you're not allowed to go ahead and burn their shells. Div Rabbi Yehuda, it's been Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon matir, and Rabbi Shimon is matir and says no, you are permitted to go ahead and burn them shells. Burn the shells. Now, 3 cases: shivrei kelim, pits of dates, and shells of nuts. Now, sricha, we need to say the machlokes in all 3 cases. Why? Diashmin and Kamaisa. If we just had the first case of shivrei kelim, bahai kamar Rabbi Yehuda mishum demikara kli, vasha shivrei shever kli. Why? Because over there, according to Rabbi Yehuda, in the beginning it started off as a kli, and now it's something which is broken. And therefore it's considered to be something which is new and born on Yantif, the Yasser, and it'll be Yasser about Tamarim. But dates, the Mikara Gerneim, Behasha Gerneim, but in dates, in the beginning they had their pits, their seeds, and now they're still in existence. That wasn't something which is new. Ema Shapir Dami. Maybe I would say that Rabbi Yehuda would agree with Rabbi Shimon that this is not a case of Noilat, and therefore we had to say that V'yashmin and Garin. And if we had the case of their pits are okay, have a meaning the Mikara Machsin V'hashta Miglin. The reason why it's considered to be something new is because in the beginning it was covered, and now, right, and now it's you can see it. In other words, the pit is covered by all the fruit of the date around it. About Klipe Egoizim. But when it comes to shells of the nuts, the mikara miglu, the hashta miglu, they're over there in the beginning, they're on the outside, and you can see them. So too now they're on the outside. So they didn't change at all. Ema shapir dami. Maybe I would say that, okay, there is no change at all to the shells. Therefore, it's tzricha to tell us in this case that no, since these shells are now something which is new, in other words, it's something that in the beginning they were just basically protecting the nut, but now since they were separated, they're on its own. Therefore, that is considered to be new, and therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, one would not be allowed to go ahead and burn them. And this, which Rav said that which Rav taught, it wasn't actually really that he said it. Rather, it was inferred from the actions of Rav. Why? Because Rav was going ahead and he was eating, I guess, some sort of dates, and he threw it into the fire. And Omer le Reb Chia bar Pachti connect the beyond of Aser. So he said, if you do this, I guess he was doing it on the weekdays. He said, Rav, or Bar Pakti, which is the name he gave to Rav, to do like this, to throw a seed on Yantav would be Aser. So therefore, in other words, that we assume that Rav listened to the words of Reb Chia, and then he asered to go ahead and with the pits. So therefore, he held like Rabbi Yehuda, and therefore he, and he listened to his words. So kibla minei loy kibla minei. Did Rav listen to his words or not? So Tashma, come listen. Kidichi asa Rav leBavel. When Rav came to Bavel, achal tamri v'shad dekashiasa lechiyusa. He went ahead and he had dates on Yantef and he threw it into the fire. So my la de be parsiasa. Was it now the type of parsiasa, type of date which when you go ahead and eat it, there was completely no more fruit on it, and therefore it was just a seed. And therefore you see that And so we see over there that he threw it in there, and he was not makabel the words. So the verse says no, lo, bar miyasa, v'hoy v'chazi agav imayu. No, he says no. It was a different type. It was like an armasa, like an Armenian type of date, which some of the fruit still remained on it. So therefore, since there was still some fruit, right, some meat of the date was still on the seed or the pit. Therefore, when he throws it in, it's not considered to be something which is noilad. It's not something to do because there's still some fruit that was in existence from the beginning. So therefore, it would be permitted to go ahead and burn it out the remaining fruit. So Amar Lei Rav Shmuel Bar Chanel Rav Yosef Rav Yehuda says Rav Shmuel Bar Chanel Rav Yosef according to Rav Yehuda Damar Masikim Kalev and Masikim Shiva Kalev according to Rav Yehuda who says you're allowed to go ahead and burn, right, full utensils, but you can't go ahead and burn something which became broken on Yativ. So Kevan the Ali Gohapur Sahavile Shiva Kalim. Once you go ahead and it burns a little bit, once the fire sets, it's now become damaged. Shiva Kalim. And therefore, if you're going ahead and stoking the fire, you're stoking something which is usher. You shouldn't be allowed to do it. So Gemara answers, no. Do you have a you should do like Rav Masna, like you should do like that which Rav Masna taught. Rav Masna Amarav eitzim shenishim in a dekel the tanner b'yantav mar be'eitzim muchanim masikim. Right. So if you have wood that's in, from the branches that were inside the oven. So how do you go ahead and stoke the fire? If that is now the wood logs are now considered to be shivrei kalim. Go ahead and add new woods in there that are ready, and then stoke those, and therefore, basically, since there's the majority of those, it'll be mevatel and a shivrei kalim, and therefore it'll be permissible to go ahead and stoke that fire. And Rav Nuna Amar Hacha. Now, period. Going back to what we said, we had a machlekes in the Mishnah on Daf Kavches Amad Aleph. So it's Amad Beis, excuse me. So it said up there in machlekes by these wicks. And if they were bent over, right, they were folded over and they were twisted, but however, they weren't burnt. So are they tameh or not? So we had a machlekes. Rabbi Eliezer said they're tameh, and Rabbi Kiva said they're tahor. Rabbi Eliezer said they're still considered to be a bagad, and Rabbi Kiva said, no, they are considered to be tahor. Now comes Rav Hamnuna and is explaining the reason. Rav Hamnuna Amar Hacha b'pachas mishleisha shleisha skina. Over here we're talking about these wicks of the bagad that they're using. These wicks are less than 3 by 3 tefachim. Umekule matlanios shanukan. And we're going over here. We're talking about rags, basically rags, useful rags, right? Now, with these useful rags, is the machlokas whether they're tameh or tar, or whether they're still considered to be. Remember, if it's tameh, means it's still considered a beged, right? If it's tahor, it means it lost its name of being a beged, and it's not really considered anything, and therefore only kalim, only begadim could become tameh, and not just shmatas. A useless shmata it cannot become tameh because it's useless, right? It's not considered a beged. So over here we're talking about these rags. So the Ozda Rabbi Eliezer Latami, Rabbi Eliezer goes to Shitasa, Rabbi Hila Tami, and Rabbi Hila goes to Shitasa. Now what is this Mishnah? So 3 machlokes. The Tanai within a Mishnah, Pakas Mishleisha Shleisha. If you have a rag, something which is less than 3 by 3 tefachim, right? But it still is, let's say, at least 3 by 3 etzbos. So he uses this rag, whether it's to go ahead and to stop up one of the pipes in the bathhouse, or to go ahead and to wipe down a pot, or to clean up the mill. Bein mina muchan, bein she'ein mina muchan. Whether it was something that was muchan, right, prepared, set aside, or something that was not set aside, was soon defined in these cases. Tameh, it is tameh. In other words, it's still, since it's put in use, right, it's considered to be a bagad, and therefore it can become tameh. Divei Rabbi Eliezer. This is Rabbi Eliezer, who actually this goes stems with our Mishnah, because in our Mishnah he says that these wicks are also tameh if they're made from bagad. Rabbi Shua Omer, and Rabbi Shua says, Omer bein min hamuchan bein shelo min hamuchan tahor. Says no. It says Rabbi Shua, they're always tahor. Once it's no longer 3 by 3 tefachim, I don't care what you use it for, it's tahor. It's not considered a bagad. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Rabbi Kiva says min hamuchan tameh shelo min hamuchan tahor. If it's prepared, if it's ready, we'll soon define what that is. Then it's tameh. And if it's not prepared, and if it wasn't really designated, then it's tar. Now, the Omer Ulun says it all over there. The Tema Rabbi Barachanam Rabbi Yechon Hakol Maidim Zakub Ashba Divra Kol Tar. If this matlanios, if these rags were thrown in the garbage, so the thrown in the garbage basically shows the person's intentions that he doesn't want it anymore because it's thrown in the ashba. So if it's thrown in the garbage, then everyone agrees it's tahor. It's tahor. It's not something because it's not a beged. Now, the next case, Henichu, the kufsa. If he goes ahead and he puts it in the kufsa, right, puts it in the drawer, right, it's in a box, right, to keep it in the pantry. Divrei hakol tamei. Everyone would agree, not only Rabbi Eliezer, but even Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Akiva would all agree that it's tamei. So lo nechlechu ela shetala b'malgut o shenichu le'acharei adalas. The only argument in the case of where he puts it on a peg or he puts it like on a behind the door. Rabbi Eliezer saver mitloi zarku b'ashpa daitei alui. Rabbi Eliezer holds that what, by the fact that he didn't throw it in the garbage, it means that he wants to keep it. And since he wants to keep it, it's like a bag and it's useful, and therefore it's tamei. What does it mean if bein min mucham mean shalom min mucham? Why is it called it's not prepared? Because regarding things that are put in a box, it's not considered to be prepared. So since it wasn't put in a box, right? Therefore, it's even if it's put on a peg or behind the door, since it wasn't in a box, it's considered. Nevertheless, it's still considered to be. He didn't throw in the garbage. Nevertheless, it's still considered to be tamei. Rabbi Shua said. Rabbi Shua opposite. But the fact it wasn't put in a box, but tuli batli. In other words, in his mind, he's not keeping it, and therefore it's tahor. Why is it called muchan? Because when as opposed to throwing something in the garbage, since right it wasn't thrown in the garbage, therefore it's considered to be prepared. But nevertheless, it's not something that is kept around because it wasn't put in a box, and therefore it's considered to be tahor. Rabbi Kiva would say no. If you go ahead and hang on a peg, that it shows that you still want it, and therefore it's a beged, and therefore it's tamei, you would hold like Rabbi Eliezer. But if you go ahead and put it behind the door, so that really shows that you don't really want it anymore. So like Rabbi Shua, then he holds like Rabbi Shua that it's not considered a beged, and therefore it'd be tahor. However, the hadar bei Rabbi Kiva legabe Rabbi Shua. However, Rabbi Kiva was chayzer to Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Akiva, who differentiated between mina muchar and mina muchan, in other words, between the case of the peg and the door, actually, when it came, he was chayzer, he held like Rabbi Yeshua, who held that it's tahor. And that was the Rabbi Akiva. Remember, our Mishnah is a machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva. So that which Rabbi Akiva said in our Mishnah is tahor, he actually was like the sheet of Rabbi Yeshua. Why is that? Mimai, right? So Amarava, Migitani, Pasilas Habeget. Because over there it says psilas habeged, the wick of the garment. Ma'ir detani psilas habeged. Why did it say psilas habeged? At least need psila shel beged. Why didn't it say psila of a beged? Why did it sound like maybe a wick from a garment? It sounded like a garment which was a wick. In other words, it was a whole garment. So since it's the whole garment, if it's the whole garment, maybe it's a reason to say it's tahor. I can say it's tamei because it's still considered a beged because it's psila beged and not psila from a beged, right? So my psila is a beged. The dying beged, it's still a beged. Nevertheless, he holds it is tahor. So how is it tahor? It must be he holds like the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua that always holds that since it's not used as a beged anymore, therefore it loses the status as beged, and because it's not used as the normal usage, and therefore it is tahor. Fine.
Wait, so are we dealing with a case here?
The problem is that
Tuma and Tara, or a case of mukta,
Say it again.
nolad.
What about nolad?
It started off where I thought we were dealing with a case of nolad,
Right.
and then it kind of morphed into a case of the whole machlokas has to do with Tuma and Tara.
That was the machlokas. There's two separate machlokas. One is machlokas whether it's tuma tahara, and the other one is machlokas whether you're allowed to light it. Whether you're allowed to light it perhaps could be a question of muksa, right? Muksa or not muksa, because if something is not for the use of Shabbos, you can't go ahead then you can't go ahead and light it. That is that. But when it comes to tuma tahara, it doesn't necessarily make a difference whether muksa or not. It makes the difference whether it's classified as a beged or not. So therefore, it actually is two separate issues in those two cases, which is the confusing part. All right.
Okay.
Right.
There was the machlokas with Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda regarding the status of mukta.
Right.
But it never really discussed why Rabbi Shimon holds that it's not mukta.
Well, he holds.
Or maybe he doesn't hold by muksa.
He holds. There is no muksa according to it. We hold like Rabbi Shimon. There is no muksa. In other words, there's two definitions of muksa. Rabbi Yehuda is much more machmir. Rabbi Shimon is much more meko. The Gemara gets into later on. Well, it's throughout the Masechta, this machlokes, but it gets into later on when it talks about something which is muksa or not. But we'll get there and discuss that in its proper place. All right, let's keep moving. Fine. Mishnah. So the Mishnah says, a person should not go ahead and take a shell of an egg, fill it with oil, and place it above the candle, in order that it should drip in it. Why? Because what's going to happen? You have an apparatus or actually not an apparatus. You have let me just show it, right? You have the candle over here with the oil, and you have an egg on top of it, and you put a little hole in the egg, and therefore the egg the shell will drip oil into the candle, and it will provide more oil to the candle, and therefore it will last longer. Now, what is the issue? The issue is that a person might go ahead and take oil from the egg, right, and then save it or take it. Now, what's the issue there? It's the issue of mechabe, because right now, the way it's set up, it will last for 6 hours with all the oil, including the oil in the egg. But if it removes some of the egg from the oil, it might only last 4 hours, right? So therefore, that's called mechabe. That's called to go ahead and extinguish a fire on Shabbos. And therefore, since we don't want a person to go ahead and take the oil, we don't trust him that he won't take it. Therefore, it's us to go ahead and basically leave an egg above the candle. Even if it's made of earthenware. It's made of earthenware. What's the chiddush there? Because earthenware is gross. No one is going to go ahead and take oil after it was in an earthenware kli. Nevertheless, we still have a gzeira in such a case that you cannot go ahead and leave an earthenware vessel above the ner. Rabbi Yehuda says, no problem. Mater, it's mutter in this case. We trust you that you won't go ahead and take the oil out. But if it's attached in the beginning from, let's say, a professional, from a potter, and now it's not an eggshell held over, by something else over a candle. Rather, the eggshell is basically attached to the candle, and now it's like one kli, and therefore it's be mutter. Now, next case, so one should not go ahead and fill. Right, he has a candle, and then he fills another bowl next to the candle, and he has a long wick that extends into the second bowl. Once again, that is usher to do because a person might go ahead and take oil out of the bowl next to it, and therefore it'll basically the fire will not last as long. And once again, Rabbi Yehuda Mater. Rabbi Yehuda says is mutter in this case. Now let's see the case of the Gemara. So Zak the Gemara, so tzricha. We need both these cases, or actually 3 cases, sort of. One case of an egg over one of the case of an earthenware, and the third case is a bowl next to the candle. I need the case of the egg. Why? Because the Rabbanan say in that case, since the oil is not disgusting, a person might go ahead and take the oil out of it and use it for himself or save it. But if it's an earthenware, which is gross, maybe they'll agree with Rabbi Yehuda as mutter, and therefore it has to teach that case. And if we just had the case of the cheres, Rabbi Yehuda, in that case, Rabbi Yehuda says it's mutter because someone's not going to go ahead and take the oil out. But a case of where it's nice egg or it's still clean, maybe Rabbi Yehuda would give the Rabbanan that it is aser. So therefore, you have to state that case. If we just had these first 2 cases of the egg and the earthenware when it was above the candle, because over there's no separation. It's one on top of the other. But we have a bowl next to it. Since it's separate, maybe they'll agree with Rabbanan, and therefore no. If we just had the last case, in that case, maybe the Rabbanan, since it was next to it, the Rabbanan would say that it's aser. But in the other case, maybe they agree with Rabbi Yehuda that since it's over it, it's the same thing. Therefore, it's tzricha. Therefore, it needs to say all 3 of these cases to teach us that Rabbi Rabbanan throughout say it's aser, and Rabbi Yehuda says throughout that it is mutter. Then the Mishnah says, then it says over there that if a potter went ahead and attached the eggshell or the cheres to the candle, then it's mutter because it's like one thing. Tatani im chibra b'seed, b'cheres is mutter. It says over there, if he attached it with pitch, right, and ceramic, then he gets the mutter. It says you can't just attach it with that. You can't just seal it. It has to be done by a yotzer, by a potter, a professional. So tanan my yotzer kein yotzer. It doesn't mean that an actual potter has to do it. Rather, it has to be done to the standards of a professional potter, and that it's really attached and not just some tape or whatever it is. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Pamachas Shaftani Alias Bayis Niza Belud. One time I was up in the attic in Beis Niza in Lud. Ve'avina lana shor shel beitza v'lena shemen v'nekvua v'niuchua al pianer. What happened? They brought in an eggshell and they filled it with oil and they made a hole and they put it above the nair. V'haya shem Rabbi Tarfon and Zakanim, and they had the Rabbi Tarfon and the Zakanim were there. And they didn't say anything. They didn't say a word. So obviously, it seems to be permissible to go ahead and do it. So Amr Lo Misham Rai, from there it's a rule. So Shani Beis Niza, this reason, hey, no, Beis Niza was different because they were zaris, they were careful. They wanted to go ahead and take the oil out of it, and therefore that was the reason why they mated it. Similarly, Avin Tzipora Gorar Safsala Balisa Deshisha Leila Mi Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar. So Avin from Tzipora, he pulled a couch, right, on the floor, and a marble floor in front of Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar. Now, normally to pull something which is heavy is not permitted on a dirt floor, because then one, or it's machlokas actually, then one can cause a furrow to be created, like a ditch, and therefore that's usher, because that is similar to going ahead and plowing, and plowing is forbidden. So plowing or not, so the machlekes whether pulling heavy furniture is mutter or not. Machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. So over here, he pulled it on this floor, and in front of Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar. And Amalei, if I would be quiet to you, like they were quiet in the case of the egg, right? They didn't say anything in the case of the egg, but only over there, right? We said it's a special condition. If I'm quiet to you now and tell you that this is mutter, then perhaps churba will come out, right? The bad things will come out. People will think that it's mutter. So Zera, Alisa, the Shisha, Ata, Alisa, Dalma. So therefore, I'm going to tell you that no, this is not mutter. Even in the case of where it's marble, hard floor, it's not mutter to go ahead and drag the couch, because people might think, oh, it's always mutter to drag a couch, and therefore, if I'm dragging a couch even on dirt floor, that would be permitted. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's forbidden to do, because one is plowing on the field, and therefore, since we don't want a person to do it on a dirt floor, we don't want them even to do it in this case, and therefore, I'm telling you, it's not permitted. Now, Reish Kanishta Vitzra Garas Hafsala Leila Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabba. So one time, the Reish Kanishta, like the Gabbai of the Beis Knesses, the head of the shul, Vitzra, so he was pulling a couch right in front of Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabba. Amar Lei, come on, who do you hold like Rabbi Shimon? You must hold like Rabbi Shimon's mother. That which Rabbi Shimon said, only with large pieces of furniture that you can't carry. The left sharp, because you can't go ahead and carry it. No, it's only possible to drag it. However, Biktani mi Omar. But did you say in a small case like this, maybe this is a case of Ketani where you can lift it. Now, if it's liftable, then Rabbi Shimon says, no, you can't do that. Everyone holds in a liftable case is usher. So how could you say you hold like Rabbi Shimon that in this case would be permitted? It should be usher. And this understanding of the machlokes from Rabbi Yirmiyah pligi de Ula is actually a different understanding than Ula, because Ula understands machlokes differently than Rabbi Yirmiyah, as we'll soon see. The Amar Ula, machlokes b'ketanim, the only machlokes is between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon as to whether one can go ahead and pull is with the smaller cases, with chairs or whatever it is when you drag it. Aval b'gedalim, but if it's a large one, there's no other way to go ahead and take it with you and drag it, then that divya called mutter, everyone says is mutter in such a case, because there's no other way to move it, and it would still be mutter. And obviously, there's only a case of not including case of psik resha, which we'll touch on later on, is when it's automatically 100% going to happen every time. And even Rabbi Shimon agrees in the case of psik resha that it would. So in other words, yes, it is heavy. There's no other way to carry it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll always create a furrow, and therefore, what's it called? It would be able to go ahead and drag it. Now, so Meisi Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef has a kasha. So Rabbi Shimon Omer Gur Adam Mita Kisei v'Safsal Ubevachle is Chavin Lasos Chritz. So Rabbi Shimon says, right, that person can go ahead and drag a bed, which seems to be heavy, and a Kisei v'Safsal, and a chair, right? So it sounds like v'Safsal on a couch, right? So it sounds like heavy things and light things. Ubevachle is Chavin Lasos Chritz. So it says over here, in all cases, it's mutter to go ahead and do it and drag it. So Ktani Goim, Ktani Ktanim. It says cases over here, both right heavy and both light. So kasha provides a kasha in both of them. So Ula Matar Tzatame. Ula doesn't know. It's not really a kasha. It's not all the cases, because he'll explain it like the Shita. So Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi Matar Tzatame. Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi also gives his own tears. Why? Ula Matar Tzatame. He says no. Mitya Dumda the Kisei. That which Rabbi Shimon says mutter in the case of a bed, chair, and a couch. is what type of bed we're talking about? A light bed, a bed similar to a chair, which is very light. Maybe I don't know, a futon or something like that, right? Rabbi Yirmiyah, Rabba, Matar Satami, and therefore, since it's a light case, according to Ulu, he said everyone holds. In the case if it's light, you can still go ahead and do it. Rabbi Yirmiyah, Rabba, Matar Satami, he goes to Shidasa, says when it says Kisei Dumia Demita, we're only talking about Gedolah when it's a chair that's heavy like a bed. However, the Gemara does not like Rabbi Yirmiyah. So Mesiv Rabba. So a person who sells clothing, and amongst the clothing he sells is shatnez, wool and linen, right? Different garments, and he's wearing wool, he put on linen on top of it, can't do it. So he sells them away. Ubilvad, shalo, yischavin, becham. In other words, you can go ahead and put it on and show the people, you can model that what you're selling. However, but if it's in the I guess the winter or the summer, right? You shouldn't go ahead and use it as a protection from the sun, right? And during the winter, when it's rain season, you shouldn't put it on to go ahead and protect yourself to get hana from the rain. But those who are tzniim, they wouldn't put it on. They'd rather just basically hang on a hook behind them and show them how it looks, when it's hanging. Over here, it's like possible to do it another way. You can do it like the snow. No one ever has to put it on. You don't have why, because you can just always go ahead and hang it up. And the chiktanim dummy is similar to a case of moving chairs, right? Moving chairs, which are ktanim, is something you don't necessarily have to drag. You can do it in a different way, all right? And so to over here, you can do it in a different way. And nevertheless, we say you can do it in a different way. V'chila miskavin shari, right? Rabbi Shon l'chachila. And even if you're not mischaven, you still do it. Even though there's a place to go ahead and go ahead and hang it, nevertheless, he says you're allowed to go ahead and put it on as long as you don't have intention to get hung up. So same thing over there, that in the case of the small chairs, you're allowed to go ahead and drag it as long as you don't have intentions to go ahead and make a charetz. So this is a kasha on Rabbi Yirmiyah, because Rabbi Yirmiyah said that everybody holds that if it's able to carry, if it's katanim, then it's usher to do. So therefore, tiyufta, the Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabba tiyufta. Therefore, it's kasha Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabba, because he holds that if it was possible to do it another way, then no one will say it's mutter. But yes, we see that even though it's, as long as you don't have intentions, if it's possible to do it a different way, it is considered to be mutter. Fine. Mishnah. Mishnah says, Mishnah hamachabes aner mipnei.
Mishnah.
All right, you got it. We're Yaitse. So hamachabes aner. Wait.
What did this whole discussion about dragging furniture have to do with the original question of the oil dripping from an eggshell?
There were just similar cases. There was a case in the attic, the aliyah of, I forgot the place, in Beis Niza, where they dripped oil and they did not say anything over there. The reason why there was zaris over there, but there was another case where they were dragging furniture and they said, we don't want to be like them and not say anything. We will say something that is not permitted to go ahead and drag it. And then they got into machlokas of what was the issue with dragging it. So it wasn't necessarily the case, it was just a similar maisa of doing a maisa in front of other rabbanim. All right?
Okay. There's a picture that shows the
I know the Mishnah. It's like a Mishnah is. Like Mishnah has it.
That shows the eggshell dripping oil into the nair.
Fine. Let's see the Mishnah. Mishnah says, "Hamachabes aner mipnei she'nisyarim mipnei nachem mipnei yitzim mipnei rochra mipnei chayla she'yishan pater." Go ahead, and he extinguishes a light because he's scared of the Nachrim. Perhaps there was a holiday of the Nachrim that only lights on their holidays can be done in their churches, but if it's done in the homes, then I guess it would be those would be punished severely. So they didn't want the goyim to see that they had lights in their house, or for released him for robbers, or ruach ra, the person cannot, with the lights are on, he's feels very uncomfortable, he needs the lights off. Mipnei achayla, or a person who's sick, sheyishan, in order for him to sleep. Pater. All these cases, if you extinguish the light for this reason, you're putter. All right? Basically, you want to remove the light. So now we know that a malacha that is done, you're supposed to do malacha for malacha tzrich legufa. The malacha for its purpose, right? You go ahead and you cook something. You cook it for the purpose of having cooked food. But over here, what is the malacha of turning off lights. It's not you're removing it, right? So what's the malacha? First, the malacha really is you're creating something. What are you creating? So the malacha really is you're creating charcoal, right? You're creating charcoal. You turn off the light because you charge something. Now it's something which is charcoal. But over here, you don't want charcoal. You don't want anything else. You just want to remove the light because it's bothering you for whatever reason. So all these cases we say is pater. However, the Mishnah goes on and says chas al ner, chas al Hashem, chas al psila. But the person basically he goes ahead and he turns off the light because he doesn't want to wait. He wants to save the wick or save the fuel, right? All these cases, right? He wants to basically save money, right? Or he's use it for later. Then he's chayiv. All right, and Rabbi Yosi, Paita Bekulam, Rabbi says, "Pardon all them chutz ben apsila, except for he extinguishes a wick. Mipnei shu oisebechem." He said over there he's making charcoal, and that would be a case of where he's doing the malacha for its reason. So that was the Mishnah. Now let's see the Gemara. So the Gemara says, "Yithani seifa." By the fact it says in the second cases, right, chayiv, and it says in the cases of chayiv, a person goes ahead and he puts out the light because he wants to save money. He wants to save fuel and oil. He's chayiv. So Shmamino, Rabbi Yehuda, we learn from here that it is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda holds, as we said earlier, in case of Malacha Shein Tzirich Legufa, between Machlokes of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda says, right, even if it's Ein Tzirich Legufa, do for different reasons, right? So over here, even if you're doing it, not doing for reason, you're turning out the light because you want charcoal, you're putting out the light because you want it to be to save money, then you're chayiv v'chatos. So it must be the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi Shimon, because he would hold pater in this case, right? So if it's Rabbi Yehuda, so reisha v'mayaskina. So why in the reisha is he pater? According to Rabbi Yehuda, even if you put out the light for a sick person or a person to avoid the listim or whatever it is, so why didn't you say? Why is it mutter? So Reish Ma'askin, if you're talking about a chala, it's a life-saving situation, then it's mutter miboile. It shouldn't just say pater, right? It should say mutter. You should do it lechatchila, right? Pater sounds like pater al aser, right? You shouldn't do it, but if you do it, you're pater. You don't have to be a chat. So what do you mean? If it's chala sheish basakana, if a person is to save his life, you have to do lechatchila. Every time at a sakana, chayiv chadas miboile, and if you're talking about a chala who's not sick, it should be chayiv chadas, according to Rabbi Yehuda. So the yeda b'chala sheish basakana, we're talking about a chala sheish basakana. Uvedin really, uvedin who the lisni mutter really should have said a mutter. I did the misna seifa chayiv taninam reisha padas. Since we want to say in the seifa, we want to use the lashon of chayiv. So what is the opposite of chayiv? The opposite of chayiv is pater. So therefore, really, it should have said mutter. But since we want to use the lashon of chayiv, so therefore we use the lashon of pater, which is really ein chayiv. Rabbi Yosha is a similar case. And im b'shvil ha'chayla she'ishan leichaba v'im kiba pater. According to Rabbi Yosha, he had a brayse that said if it was for a sick that he should sleep, you should not put it out. And if you put it out, you're pater. So over there, it's telling you it's pater vel aser, but it's a chayla she'esh bo sakana. How is it pater vel aser? It should be mutter. But Isser Hahi, but it's Aser. Hahi b'chol she'ein bo sakana Rabbi Shimon. No, that Rabbi Yosha is actually going in the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who holds. Actually, we're talking about someone who was not deathly ill, rather he was just sick and uncomfortable. And nevertheless, according to Rabbi Shimon, who holds that nevertheless it is pater of al Aser. Fine. Shol sheila zu leila me Reb Tamchon deminoi. So now a question was asked from Tamchum Deminoi. So now we're going to start a bunch of agadatos. It was started by this question over here. Now it's interesting that he stood from a distance. I guess it wasn't corona related, right? He said leila means from a distance, from far, from above, right? So why did he ask the distance from above? It's said over there not because of droplets, right? It was because of he was feared him, right? Feared him. They had fear of Chachamim upon him. So a question was asked. They asked to Rabbi Tamchon, Mahu l'chabais butzina denoira makme beisha. So he says over there, what the Shabbos. So what is halach over there? Are you allowed to go ahead and put out a candle, right, for somebody who's very sick on Shabbos, right? Can you put out a candle to help someone who's very sick on Shabbos? So he says, Pasach v'omar. So he opened up and he said, now he gets into Agarta. This all next several blot will be some Agarta. Pasach v'omar an shlemo ein chachmasacha an suchla sunasecha So he says, Shlomo, where is your wisdom? Where is your seichel, right? Where is your logic, your understanding? Right? It's not only that your words, right? They words that we soon see that were taught in Koheles. They argue with the words of your father David Melech. But they're contradicting one another. Why? So David Melech said that the dead, right? They no longer go ahead and praise Hashem, right? And you said you go ahead and they praise the dead. Shekfar Mesu, right? Then he said, he doubled down. He said, right? It's better to be a live dog than a dead lion. So David Melech was what's it called? He was not he was not praising the dead, and he was praising the dead, right? And then you seem to be doing that. So lo kasha, how to come David lo hamesim lauka, that which David Melech said, right? That the dead can no longer praise. How can you say the person should always go ahead and be oisei with Torah mitzvahs before he dies. That once he dies, he will not be able to perform Torah and mitzvahs. And Kadosh Baruch Hu won't have shevach for him, right? He won't get benefit from him. Behind the Rabbi Yechon says, "My what does pasuk mean? The Mesim chayvshi." Right? The Mesim were chayvshi, right? So Kevan shemes adam nasa chayvshi min Torah. What does it mean? A dead person's free. Since once a person dies, nasa chayvshi min Torah. It's like a person who is free from Torah, min mitzvahs, and performing mitzvahs. The Kamar Shloma v'sheva chaniyas Mesim. Now what she says, I'll praise the Mesim. Shekvar Mesu, they already died. Shechatu Yisrael. So what happened? There was you talking about those that already died. Shechatu Yisrael b'midbar. When Bnei Yisrael were sitting in the midbar, Amar Moshe lefnei Kodesh Baruch Hu. Moshe Rabbeinu got for Kodesh Baruch Hu. Amar Kama tefillas tachlinu lefanav le'nena. He said many tefillas and tachnunim in front of Kodesh Baruch Hu, and he wasn't answered. Amar Zocher la'Avram liYitzchak liYisrael avdecha. But he says, remember Avram and Yitzchak and Yisrael who are already dead. Then miyad nena, he was immediately answered. In other words, we see that answering from the schus of those who are already dead, that's what it means that the dead are better than the alive. In other words, there's the schusim of the dead are better than those alive. But Shlomo, it wasn't good that what Shlomo said, right? Now we'll go ahead and praise the dead, Shekvar Mesu, right? And Davar Acher. And another thing about Mason, the minhag of the world is when a person whose flesh and blood makes the gzeira decree, it's a suffix whether if you filled or not. If you say, even if they will go ahead and fulfill it, maybe during their life will they be mekayim it or only afterwards. V'ilu Moshe Rabbeinu, but Moshe Rabbeinu, who is since deceased, Gazar kama gzeres, v'tiken kama tikanos, v'kaimas, hey, le'olam u'le'olam e'olam. But Moshe Rabbeinu, who is since deceased, right, he made many gzeres and takanas, and they're all fulfilled forever and ever. So it wasn't wise that Shlomo said, right, now praise the Mesim. So obviously, right, Shlomo Melech in Koheles was onto something. He was saying, true things, and that's why his, there was no reason to go ahead and put, Sefer Koheles in Geniza. And Davar Acher, the Shevachani, another explanation. Shevachani, Rabbi Yehuda Amarav, like Rabbi Yehuda Amarav, my dichsi, what's the pasuk mean? Asayimi, Ais L'Toiva. Viru Sana Ebeboshu. So what does it mean? Do me a tova and let my enemies be embarrassed, right? Right? Kodesh Baruch Hu, please forgive me for that avon, right? There's a vera, which perceived Avera with Bathsheba, right? When he sent her husband off to war, and then he basically took her as basically his wife during the war. But it turns out that the soldiers used to go ahead and give a get before they went out, just in case that they died in war, that the woman would be divorced and they wouldn't end up being a guna or amana. So in this case, he eventually died in war, and so therefore, right, the get took place on Afreya, and it really wasn't a Avera. But nevertheless, it says, please forgive me for the sin. Amar Loi, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu told David HaMelech, Machalacha, you're forgiven. So Amar Loi, Asay mi ois b'chai, make me a sign during my life. So Amar Loi b'chayecha. So I'm not going to give you a sign in your life. So you basically tell others, say, hey guys, stop calling me, a sinner, right? But I will not do it in your lifetime. But however, I will do it in the time of your son Shlomo Melech. Why? How? When was that? When Shlomo Melech was building Beis Hamikdash. So then it came time to go ahead and bring in the kelim, to bring in the aron into the Kodesh HaKodashim. So davku sharim zebzeh. So the gates became stuck to one another; they wouldn't open. So Amar Shlomo Esrim v'Abraham Renana Yisrael Nana. So Shlomo Melech said 24 different praises, and they didn't open. Pasach v'Yamar. Then Shlomo Melech said, "Su sharim shecha v'nasu pischei olam v'yavoi melech kavod." I open up gates, right, and let and let it be raised for that which is for the Aaron to come in, and let the king, right, and do it for the honorable king. So Ratu Basrei Lemevle. So the basically the gates sort of like chased Shlomo, right, chased after him to swallow him up. So Amru Mi who's Melech HaKavod. So basically the Sharm said, who's this Melech HaKavod talking about, yourself? So I'm like, no, Hashem Izuz v'Gibor. No, Hashem, right, the strong and the powerful, the Gibor, him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Chaz Verma, so he says, okay, I'll repeat myself, said Shlomo. Su Sharm Sheikha, Su Pischei Olam, v'Yavo Melech HaKavod. And Mihu Zel Melech HaKavod, Hashem Tzvah Su Melech HaKavod Zel. Right? Open up the gates, right, and talking about this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nevertheless, the gates did not open for Shlomo Melech. Kevan Shomer Hashem Elokim Al Teshe Pnei V'Shikacha Zocher Lechasi David Avdecha. Right? Don't do it for me. Right? Do it for the chesed of David, your servant. Miyad Immediately they opened the sharim, the gates opened, and they allowed the Aron HaKodesh to go ahead and inside the Kodesh HaKodashim. And B'Yosesha Nefchu Pnei Kol Sonei David Keshulei Kedera. And then at that moment, all the everyone's all the enemies of David Melech, basically their faces it came like the bottom of the pots. They realized that David Melech was forgiven by Kodesh Baruch Hu and it was not holding against him. And everyone knew basically that Kodesh Baruch Hu forgave David. Shlomo. Right, so it wasn't good that Shlomo said, right, it was praiseworthy is those who are dead Shekvar Mesi after they died, because you see David Melech was not publicly forgiven during his life, but only mentioned later on. See, that's why it says over there, so this is during the inauguration of the temple of the Beis Hamikdash, the first Beis Hamikdash. Right, they sent the nation, they blessed the king, they went to their tents, happy v'tayv leiv and goodness and heart. Al kol hatayv asher asa Hashem leDavid abdoi l'Yisrael amo. And for all the goods that Hashem did for David, his servant and his nation. So what does it mean? V'yochel aleim shemat and Hashem tahara, that they went back to their tents and they found that their wives were tahara, they were not nida smechem, and they were happy. Shenenu miziv hashchina, that they got benefit from the ziv hashchina from the shchina. The Taive Lev, what does it mean Taive Lev? Shinis Abra L'Shem Shel Kol Echa V'Yecha V'Yaldo Zachar. Each one of them became pregnant, and they gave birth to male children. Al Kol HaTaive Sha'asa Hashem LeDavid, for all the goodness Hashem did for David. Avdo Shemachaloi Al Os Avon, that Kodesh Baruch Hu forgave him for that sin. Will Yisrael Amon, for the nation, that people. The Achil Lehu Avon the Yom Kippurim, that he forgave him for the sin of Yom Kippurim. And that was that year because it was inaugurated right prior to Sukkot. So it was 7 days before. There was inauguration, which was full of festivities, and included in the 7 days before Sukkot is also included Yom Kippurim. So that Yom Kippurim, they actually were not fasting. They're not fasting. That was a day of celebration, happiness for the inauguration, and we see that there was not anything that was held against them. Rather, they acted appropriately and properly, and therefore, the Kodesh Baruch Hu was telling him that you did right by eating on that Yom Kippurim. And that which Shlomo Melech said, right? It's better to be a live dog than a dead lion. Like Rav right? Mahi Eda Machadalani. So the pasuk says, right? Pasuk is brought in Tehillim, right? And basically informing Hashem of the end of my days and my end, right? Tell me, what's going to happen. So I'm tell me what happens at my end. I'm like, it's an Gzera. I made a rule a long time ago. I don't tell basar v'dam. I don't tell humans what's going to happen at the end of the days. So he says, okay, midas yamai mai. So okay, tell me how long I'm going to live. So gzeirihim lefanai sheid madin b'midas yamal shalom. No, also another rule. I don't go ahead and inform people of flesh and blood how long they're going to live. So they da machadal ani. So okay, so at least tell me what day of the week I'm going to die. I'm going to leave Shabbos. Thomas, you will die David Melech on Shabbos. So he said to him, so be'echad Shabbos, maybe Emma's be'echad Shabbos, maybe let me get through Shabbos, maybe do it on a Sunday. So I'm like, Kfarigia Malchus Shlomo, I can't be no, because it can't be because the Malchus of Shlomo is supposed to start during its proper time. Malchus no get bechaverta. We can't have two Malchus overlapping one another. But even for one hair. So Emma's be'er Shabbos. Okay, maybe I should die erev Shabbos. So I'm like, Tov Yom Chatzrecha Mi'elef Tov Mi'elef Tov. Now it's better for me if one day of you learning Erev Shabbos, if I kill you a day earlier, not to desecrate the Shabbos, then no. But even one day of your learning is even greater than me than 1,000 offerings brought to me by your son Shlomo. So Kol Yemi Shabbos. So what happens? So David Melech knew he was supposed to die on a Shabbos. So Kol Yemi Shabbos, have Yasi Vigaris Kol Yami, he would go ahead and sit me Isaac with the entire Shabbos to protect him. How he when the Shabbos came, he was supposed to die. When he was supposed to go ahead and be killed, so Melech Hamavis was there, he wasn't able to go ahead and kill him and take him because the Torah wouldn't stop coming out of his mouth, and I was protecting him. So remind you of what should I do? So right, there was an orchard behind his house. So he went ahead and was knocking down trees, making noise out there. And then so David Melech basically stopped to see what was going on in the orchard. And Darga Apischa and Darga Musasai. Right. So then what happened? So then he started going down the stairs, right, to see what was going on. Right. And when he went to the second stair, then I guess it broke. And then he wasn't able to go ahead. And ishtik v'nach nafshe, right? So he went, he broke down under him, and then he was quiet for that moment. He was no longer saying words of Torah as the stair broke, and he died. So Shalach Shlomo lebi Majasha Abba Meis Mutal B'Chama B'Kalavim. All right, so he says, my father is dead, right? And he's sitting over there in the sun. B'Kalavim Shabeis Abba Re'evim. And then there's hungry dogs out there. I'm worried the dogs are gonna go ahead and attack the corpse. So what should I do with the kalav shalabe zavarevim? Ma'aseh shal shochle chasuch nevela v'inech lifnei kalavim v'avich. Right. So go ahead, cut up nevela, and go ahead and place it in front of the dogs so they can go ahead and eat, and they won't go ahead and attack the body. Right. They put it in front of the dogs. V'avicha hinech alav kikar atina v'taltulu. And then go ahead and regarding your father to go ahead and move the body from the sun. Go ahead and either place a loaf on the body or a baby. Because since those things are not muksa, and a corpse is muksa, so you can go ahead and move the corpse because it's a basis, it's supporting the loaf or the baby, and therefore a special takan in the case of a corpse. And it's not good what she says, right? It's better to be a dog, right? A dog, you get to go ahead and feed the dogs, right? For the dogs, you can go ahead and cut up nevela for them. But when it comes to a dead lion, right, like David HaMelech, right, then you can't even move him on his own. You have to go ahead and, put a loaf of bread or a tinok on it in order to move it. Fine. Well, the Inyan, and this is all said by Rabbi, who was the Rabbi they asked him? Rabbi, let me just find it. Right, Rabbi Tanchum Deminoi, right? So they asked him this whole question. When they asked the question about the candle, he says, "Oh, by the way, right? He was darshan this whole time. There was this big, Shabbos Agol Joshua. Oh, that question he asked me, right? And so he says, "Well, Ian Sheila the Sheila Kamnacha Ner Karoi." So he said, "Oh, regarding the question you asked me, can you go ahead and put out a candle for the sake of somebody who's sick for him to sleep?" So he says, Ner kari ner, v'nishmas adam kari ner. Right, a candle is called a candle, and the neshama of a person is called a candle. So mutav techaba ner shel bas avadam mipnei nero shel hakadosh baruch Hu. It's better to put out a candle made by humans, i.e., a physical candle, than a candle made by Hakadosh Baruch Hu, a soul. So in other words, better to go ahead and be mechabed in there in order for the sake to help save a life of a person who is who possibly could die because of it. Fine, 2 dots. Amar Rabbi Yehuda bar Rav Shmuel bar Shilas mishmei derav bikshu chamin d'izos dever koheles mipnei shedvar b'soisin zeh. So they want to go ahead and basically destroy the words of koheles because the different words were contradicting one another. Mipnei malaginazu. And why did they not? Mipnei shetchilaso divrei Torah v'sefer divrei Torah. Right, because the beginning was describing Torah and the end was describing Torah. The beginning was Divrei Torah. The pasuk says, what is it good for a person? All is amelu. Shemelu tachas hashemesh, that he can go ahead and everything under the sun. No, it's nothing under the sun, right? Benefits a person. However, right? But something which is before the sun, i.e., the Torah which is created before the world, i.e., though that does benefit a person. And Sofa Divrei Torah D'Chsiv was the end of Divrei Torah D'Chsiv. It says, "Saif Davar Hakol Nishmas Akim Yorev Es Mitzvosav Shamor." In the end, everything is heard by Hashem. Hashem should fear as mitzvahs he should keep. Kizeh Kol Adam. So my Kizeh Kol Adam. What does it mean? This is the person. Amar Rebbe Alazar Kol Olam Kula Lo Nivra Ella B'Shvil Zeh. Right, the entire world was only created for this. In other words, for a person. Right, for a person to go ahead and do mitzvahs, right, not other reasons. Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana Omar Shekel Zekaneg Kolam Kulo means he's equal to the Kolam Kulo. And Shum ben Azai Omer Amri Lad. Some say Shum ben Zuma Amri Lo Nivra Kolam Kulo El Latzaves Lezeh. Right, and in other words, he's only the whole world is only created, right, only to accomplish, for this person, for this. Why the world is created. So Torah was described in the beginning of Koheles and the end of Koheles. So okay, if that's the question, my Devrav Soisin Zeh. So what do you mean? Where do we see those contradicting each other? So one take it says Taiv Kas Misacha, right? So anger, right, is better than laughter. Then it says praises over there, laughter. Right? The one that laughs is praiseworthy. Then he says over there he prays Simcha. Then it says Simcha, happiness, what good is that? So they kasha. It's not a kasha. So Tov Kas Mischok. So Tov Kas Mikoyes HaKadosh Baruch Hu Al Tzadikim Elam Hazeh. In other words, the kas that Kadosh Baruch Hu was angry at tzaddikim in this world, no, that is greater. The anger Hashem has with its tzaddikim in this world is greater than the simcha that Kadosh Baruch Hu has with Hashem in the world to come. In other words, by him being angry in this world, basically that uses up their punishments for them to have entire goodness in the world to come. And that which said that the schok is that which says is prayer. That is referring to the laughter that Kadosh Baruch Hu has with tzaddikim Elohim Haba in the world to come. The Shivach is a simcha, and that which I praise is simcha. That's simcha shel mitzvah. The simcha ma'isa. So now which we said the simcha, what good is that? So he says the simcha shein shel mitzvah. That is referring to simcha shein shel mitzvah. Ram dachat to teach shein shchina sheira. That the Shekhinah does not go ahead and come in this world through atzvus, through sadness, or laziness, and not laughter, not the frivolousness or frivolity, not through other types of idle chatter or rather only comes the Shekhinah comes from simcha shel mitzvah. Shenamar says v'yata kechuli menagin v'haya kenagin ha-menagin. So it says over there, now bring me, right, for the musician, the menagin, right, and happened when the menagin played, that's when the Yad Hashem was there, that's when he came over there. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda v'chein l'davar halacha, so too when it was halacha, one should do it from simcha. And Amar Rabbi v'chein l'cholam tov, also for simcha will come a cholam tov. So Ein is a shuv, Amar Rabbi Gid, Amar Rab, chol tamei chokam sheyesh lifnei Rabbo, v'ein sivsosav notvois mar, techavena. Right? Anytime a chacham sits before his rabbi, should sit in fear. His lips should tremble in trepidation. Right? Shnamar, as the pasuk says, "Sifsaisav shoshanim noitvos mor oiver." It says his lips are like shoshanim, are like roses, and they're dripping forth. Right? I guess. Right? So what does it mean? This, I guess, type of what's called type of plant. Right, so al tikri mor oiver, right? Ella mar oiver. Don't say mar oiver. His lips are, I guess, his plants. Rather, is referring to that his lips are what's it called? Are I'll tell you mar oiver. Ella mar oiver, right? Mar is like bitterness, so it was like fear. And al tikri shoshanim ella shashayshim, and that was that fear. Also, not roses, but shashayshim are learning. And when you come to learn, that your lips should be bitter. You should be trepidation. So like kasha, the one is the case of the Rebbe himself. The other is the Talmud, right? In other words, the Rebbe, he's the one who should be through simcha, and the Talmud should be the one with the fear. Both of them is the Rabbah. The loy kasha. Now the kasha is one is before he opens up, and another one's after he starts teaching where he should be. Right in the beginning of Shir, right? He would be joking around. He would say, cute things, cute statements, from happiness. However, the Saiv Yasi also pasach was Shmaitz. But in the end, he was sitting with fear and trepidation, and then he would go ahead and then start the Shir. Ve'af Sefer Mishlei Bikshu Lignos, and even Sefer Mishlei, not only the Koheles, but even Mishlei, they want to go ahead and put in Geniza. There's certain parts that would contradict one another. Why do they not go ahead? So right, Amr Sefer Koheles Lav Anine V'Shechat Tama. Right, by Sefer Koheles, we want to go ahead and put it away, right? So no one will learn it anymore. Nevertheless, we found good things in there. So too, Hachanami Lani, so too over here. Let's go ahead and look inside Sefer Mishlei, and we'll so too find. So what are the problems with Sefer Mishlei? My Devar of Seisim says. So Ksiv, it says over there, one passage says, I'll talk Ksiv Kivlasa. Ksiv on a Ksiv Kivlasa. One passage says, do not answer a fool with his foolish ways. Another time says you should answer him in his foolish ways. So like Kash, if he's asking you Torah, then you can't go ahead and just ignore him, even though it's foolish. You should answer because it sounds like you'd be mode otherwise. But if you say something, right, which is completely out of whack, nothing to do with anything, then you should go ahead. You don't even have to answer to their foolishness. Where we see. Kiha, the Rebbe, one person at the time came before Rebbe, Amar Le, Ishtecha Ishti, Uvanecha Banai, right? Your wife is my wife, and your sons is really my son. So in response to him, you want to drink, he didn't get into argument. He says, here, why don't you drink a cup of wine? Shasa upaka. So he drank it and then he ended up dying. So whatever happened there, but obviously he didn't go ahead and get into, he didn't lower himself to get into this discussion. And similarly, Hodas, the comment there, imcha ishti, right? Your mother is my wife, therefore you're my son. So you want a cup of wine. So Shasa upaka, once again, he drank and he basically died. And Omer Rav Chia, Anya lei tzlusa l'Rabbi, Deloy l'shavi b'ni mamzeres. He says I used to go ahead and use the tefillah of Rabbi in order that these people shouldn't come and my kids would not be considered mamzer. People shouldn't spread rumors or say crazy outlandish things. The Rabbi kavi matzi Omer yihi ratzon fnecha Hashem Elokeinu shetatzilena hayay mi'azei panim azis panim. Right, every day he would say HaKadosh Baruch Hu should go ahead and save me, right, from people who are azipanim, people who are, have chutzpah, and from their chutzpah allegations. So the divrei Torah mahi. So what do we say in divrei Torah? You should go ahead and answer. And what type of things are divrei Torah? So
that tefillah has entered into our tefillos.
Right, by brachos after right.
That's right. Right after brachos, yeah. That's the tefillah.
One right afterwards. So we say, so Gemara says, let's just finish up. We're almost there. So Giyad Yasef Rabbi Gamliel Kadarish, like there's a darshan Asida Isha Tzotele B'Chayim. In the future, a woman will give birth every day. Shinamar the pasuk says, Harav Yoledes Yachtav. In the days of Mashiach, it says Harav Yoledes Yachtav. They will go ahead and get pregnant and give birth together. So Ligla love Osi Talmud Amar. So a certain Talmud he's mocked it. He says, Ein Kol Chadash Tachas Hashemesh. Nothing comes new. A woman doesn't get pregnant and give birth the next day. Similarly, no, I can show you examples of this world. I show you a hen, right, which lays an egg every single day. So yesterday, trees will go ahead and give food every day. The pasuk says, "The nasa anaf asepri," a branch will come out and it'll make fruits. Just like a branch comes out every day, or branches go every day, so too fruits will come out every day. However, Talmud. Once again, the Talmud said, he said, how could this be? Even though they knew under the sun. So let me go ahead and show you an example in this world. He showed him a capeberry bush, which does, I guess, go ahead and put forth, different leaves and fruits every single day, and therefore it is something that's done every day. Furthermore, the Suyasir Ram Gamliel of Kadarish, once he's darshaning Asida Eretz Yisrael Shataitzi Gloscha Esikli Meles. In the future, Eretz Yisrael will go ahead and it will grow not just wheat; it will grow full loaves, right, and clothing, right. Those will come from the ground. Shnamar Yehi Psas Bar Be'aretz, right, and it will be a Psas Bar, right. referring to bread from the land. So what do you mean? How could rolls grow from the ground? So let me show in this world. Right? He showed them like mushrooms and different types of truffles that grow. I guess those grows really quickly overnight, and they're rounded and beautiful or big, whatever, just like a roll, and therefore they are similar. And the akli milas navra bar kuria. And also when he showed them where do you see that? So he showed them the I guess the hearts of palm where it would grow, certain type of wool that would grow with these fruits that sort of look like wool, look like clothing, and those were done. So we'll stop here. The 2 dots I know is long. We'll see how we go tomorrow. I'll prepare 2 blot. We'll go 45 minutes into the day, and we'll see how far they can do for the next couple of days. And this way we'll not fall too far behind.